Spanning across Saudi Arabia, Oman, UAE, Jordan, and Yemen, the Arabian deserts have shaped ancient trade routes, hosted thriving civilizations, and are full of mysterious wonders. From lost kingdoms to cars running without engines, these bizarre occurrences recorded in the deserts of Arabia will leave you absolutely jaw-dropped. Number 1. Well of Hell. Deep in Yemen, far from any trace of civilization or roads, lies a mysterious sinkhole. This black abyss, when viewed from above, looks like a giant eye staring up from the earth. Local legends say it brings bad luck, or even worse, that it's a prison for jinns, spirits from Islamic mythology. Most people don't even want to talk about it, let alone visit. But in 2021, a brave team of Omani cave explorers decided to venture into this 367 feet deep natural hole. What they found was nothing like its sinister reputation. Descending into the hole with all the haunting stories and unknown dangers, think crocodiles or who knows what, was an adventure in itself. But the view was worth it. The sinkhole, nearly 100 feet wide at the surface, expands to almost 4 times that size at its base. 4 waterfalls pour down into an underground ecosystem full of life, snakes, dead birds, various insects, and even cave pearls. Researchers believe the sinkhole could be millions of years old, but there's also a local legend about a king commanding a jinn to carve it out as a secret hideaway. Despite all the eerie tales, the explorers were perfectly safe and even enjoyed their time there, so it seems no evil spirits were lurking after all. Finding such a wonder in the vast Arabian desert was a remarkable discovery. Number 2. Ghost Valley. With your car facing uphill, if you put it in neutral and lift your foot off the brake, physics says it should start rolling backwards, right? Well, not on the road leading to Jabal Baida in the Arabian desert. Locals call it the Valley of Jinn, because for ages it's been believed that supernatural forces here push your car, or any object like a can or bottle, uphill. Later, it was dubbed Magnetic Hill, with theories of magnetic forces defying gravity gaining popularity. But it's actually neither of these. The road is slightly inclined downwards, but the surrounding landscape creates an optical illusion that makes it look like an uphill slope. This reminds us that reality often isn't as exciting as the theories, but even with the mystery solved, visitors still feel like their cars are defying gravity. Number 3. Many Secrets of Al-Ula. Just 3 kilometers north of the Islamic holy city lies an ancient oasis that's a treasure trove of history. Archaeologists keep uncovering forgotten cities and kingdoms, revealing that this place has had permanent settlements for over 7,000 years. Archaeologists found an entire city that served as the capital of the ancient kingdoms of Dedan and Lihyan way back in the 9th century BC. They found ruins of temples, palaces, and tombs, along with traces of an impressive water management system. To survive in the desert, showcasing inhabitants of Dedan were skilled engineers. The city boasts carvings of lions on cliffs, standing guard over the perfectly square-cut entrance of chambers, and window-like carvings 50 feet above the valley, evidencing a settlement from 2,600 years ago. For language lovers, Jabal Ikma is the perfect spot. The mountain rocks are filled with thousands of inscriptions in Aramaic and Dadanitic, with the oldest dating back to 644 BC. Petra, one of the 7 wonders of the world and the capital city of Nabatean civilization, is quite famous. But did you know there is something very similar in the Arabian desert, right in Al-Ula? Known as Hegra, this prehistoric city is full of Nabatean ruins and features hundreds of rock-carved tombs, showcasing a mix of Roman, North African, and Middle Eastern architecture. Hegra, often dubbed the Other Petra, is believed to have been built around 2,000 years ago, right after the Dardan civilization. How power shifted between these civilizations is still debated among archaeologists. Al-Hijr, built by the Nabatean, displays artifacts reflecting Dadanite cultural influence. One of the most eye-catching structures built by the Nabatean is Qasr al-Farid, meaning the lonely castle. Though called a castle today, it was actually a tomb. Its sheer height and isolation from other tombs suggest it was built for someone of very high status. Number 4. Rajajil columns. Did you know Saudi Arabia has its own Stonehenge? Just a few kilometers outside the city of Al-Juf, on a lonely hillside, clusters of 3-meter-high stone fingers stand proudly. These ancient stones are arguably the oldest human monuments on the Arabian Peninsula. At first glance, you might think these unique stones are natural formations, but these sandstone steles, weighing up to 5 tons each, were laboriously erected in 54 groups, with each group containing at least 2 and up to 90 roughly trimmed stone pillars. These stones bear ancient Talmudic graffiti, but their exact purpose remains unknown. Archaeologists dug deep under a few stones, but found no human or animal remains, so it's unlikely these stones served ritualistic purposes. They might have been landmarks for trade routes. Aerial images suggest a rough alignment to sunrise and sunset, hinting that the placement of these stone groups might have had astronomical significance. The mysterious standing stones of Al-Rajajil are yet another example of the Arabian desert's rich archaeological wealth, most of which is shrouded in mystery. Number 5. Lessa Jaboa. Imagine a vast ocean of sand, hotter than a pizza oven. That's the Rub al-Khali of the Arabian desert, the largest continuous sand desert in the world. With almost no food or water in this region, you would think wildlife doesn't stand a chance, right? Wrong. Let me introduce you to this bizarre little guy. He looks like a mouse, but hops around like a kangaroo. Like many desert dwellers, these creatures are strictly nocturnal. They stay cool during the scorching hot days by hiding out and only venture out at night to find food. And if life in the desert wasn't tough enough, these guys also have to watch out for predators that lurk in the vastness of the desert, like fennec foxes. They are quick and can make sharp turns, and that long tail isn't just for show, it helps them balance during their long leaps. Number 6. Snakes of desert. Snakes are creatures that even the heat can't drive away, and the Arabian deserts are home to several species. Let's start with a harmless and kind of cute-looking snake that gives humans no reason to be afraid, the Arabian sand boa. These snakes are shy and quickly burrow under the sand as soon as they touch it. Those googly eyes might make them look a bit silly, but they are actually smartly evolved for spotting food while buried in the sand. But if you come across a snake in the Arabian desert, it might not always be the small and adorable sand boa. Enter the Arabian horned viper, a more sinister snake, almost the same color as the sand for perfect camouflage. These vipers sport 2 horns above their eyes, looking ready for a punk concert. And yes, they are venomous. If you encounter one, it won't shy away and burrow. Instead, it will likely throw a hissing tantrum to warn you to back off. Another fascinating thing about these snakes is that they are sidewinders. They move sideways in a series of waves, unlike most snakes that slither forward. Number 7. Beehive Tombs. The Arabian Peninsula was not always how it looks now. This land was supposedly covered in lakes, rivers, and lush vegetation thousands of years ago with ancient civilizations' settlements. Proof of this lies in the Beehive Tombs, scattered across Oman. These structures, over 5,000 years old, are named for their beehive-like appearance. Though called tombs and recognized by UNESCO as burial chambers, no human remains have been found inside any of these hundreds of structures. Artifacts discovered around these tombs reveal that the civilization that built them had trade links with what is now Iraq and the Indus Valley. Each tomb has a single round or oval chamber about 2 to 3 meters wide, made of rough-cut rocks. The ring walls encircle the chamber, rising to a height of 3 to 4 meters and sloping inward to form a dome. These tombs, or perhaps houses, seem to have been built without any formal planning, yet they still stand tall after thousands of years, showcasing the engineering skills of a long-lost civilization. Number 8. Buried Village. Finding thousands of years-old artifacts and monuments from when the land wasn't a desert makes sense, but this ghost town in the UAE is something very recent and definitely the creepiest. On a strip of desert behind Al Madam town, there's a tiny village with 2 rows of colorful houses and a mosque at the end, all taken over by sand dunes. No humans live here. It might seem like the winds, sending the sands into the houses, made people abandon the town shortly after it was built in the 1970s. But local legend says it was actually jinns who haunted the people, driving them out of their homes, never to return. The strange, silent place does give off haunted vibes, right? The legend goes further, describing the evil spirit as a female named Duwais, who had cat eyes and machetes for hands. With that much detail, it's hard not to wonder if there's some truth to the tale. The small houses have rusty iron gates, and inside are colorful blue and green rooms with ceramic tiles and wallpapers. But every single room and each house is filled with piles of sand, sometimes stretching halfway up the walls. If people just left because they thought living here was a bad idea, then why build a town in the middle of the desert in the first place, right? Number 9. Jibran. Normally, caves are formed by water erosion and glacial activity, so deserts aren't typically known for their caves. But Jibran is no ordinary cave, it's a lava tube. Essentially, it's a large natural tunnel formed by lava, cooling and hardening on the outside, leaving a hollow space inside. Formed millions of years ago in Harro AlSham, northwestern Saudi Arabia, this cave has been a refuge for people escaping the unforgiving desert heat for over 7,000 years. Archaeologists have found tools and animal bones suggesting that ancient inhabitants used it for cooking and social gatherings. Discovering this cave offers a remarkable opportunity to experience a lava tube firsthand, along with a place that has been called home by different ancient civilizations. Number 10. Winged. Iraq is undoubtedly rich in history, from the origin of written language to early human settlements. Unfortunately, war and extremist groups have destroyed many relics from the past. But in 2023, archaeologists unearthed something extraordinary, a winged, mythical creature sculpture that looks fresh out of a factory. This sculpture, however, dates back nearly 3,000 years. The creature, called Lamassu, has the wings of an eagle, the head of a human, and the body of a bull. In ancient Mesopotamian religion, Lamassu symbolizes intelligence, strength, and freedom. These towering statues once stood at the entrances of ancient cities in Iraq. Although it's almost in perfect shape, the head was cut off and stolen. Fortunately, one such head was recovered by customs and is now in the Baghdad Museum. Researchers believe it might belong to this statue. Wouldn't it be great to reunite the head with its body? Number 11. Camel Sculpture. Finding ancient rock art is one thing, but discovering life-size sculptures of camels made by ancient artists over 7,000 years ago is mind-blowing. For reference, Stonehenge was built about 5,000 years ago. Camels have long been a symbol of the Arabian desert, but these sculptures suggest they were significant even when the region wasn't barren. The height of these sculptures indicates that the carvers might have used scaffolding to reach up high. Were these an art show, or did they serve a purpose? There are many theories, from the site being a meeting point for communities and herders to a place tied to fertility or a specific time of the year, suggested by the camels' bulging necklines and round bellies, features typical during mating season. What we see now are heavily eroded sculptures with many panels fallen, but at the time, they would have been absolutely stunning. Number 12. The Split Rock. Mount Sinai's story is a big deal across religions. Judaism, Christianity, and Islam all see it as the place where Moses got the Ten Commandments directly from God himself, and for centuries it is believed to be in the Sinai Peninsula of Egypt. But recent discoveries around Jabal Maqla, a mountain in Saudi Arabia, have some compelling evidence that matches the biblical account of Mount Sinai. Starting with the blackened peaks of the mountain, which look as if they were scorched by fire. Geologists say these are rocks in an unusual configuration, but this fits the biblical story of fire burning at the summit and smoke clouds as a sign of God's arrival. Another fascinating feature at the base of the mountain's western side is a split rock. This giant rock split down the middle sits on a small hill with clear signs of erosion at its base. Geologists say this erosion happened over 1 million years because of wind and rain, but religious researchers suggest it was caused by water gushing out when Moses struck the rock to provide water for the Israelites camped at the mountain's base. This perfectly aligns with the biblical reference. At the mountain's base, there's also an altar made of uncut stones, just as described in the Bible as Moses' altar. Nearby, remnants of burnt sacrifices potentially match those mentioned in the Exodus story. While most still believe Mount Sinai is in Egypt, these intriguing discoveries in Saudi Arabia are shaking things up. Could it all be wild imagination, or is the history we know flawed? We might never know for sure. Number 13, Harro AlSham. When you think of a desert, probably sand dunes come to mind, right? Well, Jordan's Black Desert doesn't fit the stereotypical appearance. It looks like a cursed landscape. Covering a region of 50,000 square kilometers, the Black Desert has over 800 cones that started erupting 30 million years ago and continued until 18=58. These fiery eruptions have left the area with black rocks, which erosion has transformed into captivating shapes. But there's more to this desert. It's like an open-air museum with numerous rock arts linking us to our ancestors. The rock art shows lions, horses, ostriches, and other animals that aren't found anywhere near these rocks now, suggesting this place was much less arid in the past. Early Arabic alphabet inscriptions on the rocks have made historians rethink the period when Arabic originated. This rock art has made the area a hotspot for archaeologists and researchers. During excavations, they found evidence of humans practicing farming over 14,000 years ago. Number 14. Ancient Monastery. The Arabian Peninsula is dominated by Islam now, but centuries before its rise, Christianity had a significant presence with proper monasteries that got lost over time. In 2022, archaeologists discovered an ancient monastery in the UAE, almost lost to the sands of time. This monastery is similar to others found in Iran and the Persian Gulf countries existing during the same period. Scholars believe that as Islam became prevalent and people started converting, these churches were abandoned. The discovery of such sites will hopefully provide more insights into how faith transformed over time in this region. Number 15. Ancient City of Lagash. Flourishing from 5000 BC to 2500 BC, the city of Lagash is one of the oldest and largest cities discovered. So it is no surprise it became an important archaeological site for understanding the ancient Sumerian civilization. In 2022, archaeologists found something remarkable, showing that socializing and relaxing practices from thousands of years ago weren't so different from today. They stumbled upon an open courtyard space with an industrial-sized oven, an ancient fridge to keep food cool, and dozens of bowls. This revealed that the courtyard was an outdoor dining area, proving that eating out was popular 5,000 years ago too. Number 16. 4,000-year-old wall. Khaybar Oasis is one of the oldest locations with water and vegetation in the vast, arid Arabian desert. The Khaybar fort and the surrounding town remain almost the same as they were centuries ago, making it an intriguing place to visit. The region's flourishing history became more evident when they discovered an ancient wall dating back 4,000 years. This wall was built around one of the oldest and most fertile oases, likely serving a dual purpose, protecting their lush land from the encroaching desert and defending against nomadic raids. Though the wall has shrunk to 41% of its original size, it still stands as a testament to the hard work of ancient people adapting to harsh desert conditions and warding off bandits. Number 17. Kusa Amra. Imagine stumbling upon a curious-looking castle in the middle of the desert, and when you walk in, you find yourself in an art museum filled with wall art from thousands of years ago. Welcome to Kusa Amra, a desert castle located in Jordan. It was constructed in the early 8th century by a caliph from the Umayyad dynasty. This site is an important example of early Islamic art and architecture. Interestingly, this was actually just a small part of a much larger castle, most of which has long since disappeared, leaving only its foundation. Kusa Amra features a rectangular audience hall, a few submerged structures, and even a bathhouse. But it's the illustrations on the walls and ceiling that steal the spotlight. These are no ordinary paintings, they are intricate stories and events portrayed through art. From hunting scenes to the tale of Jonah and the whale, and depictions of the caliph's power with people bowing to him, these illustrations are like stepping into a time machine that takes you back to the past. Number 18. Nasla Rock. In Saudi Arabia's Taima Oasis, believed to be the oldest human settlement in the region, stands a rock that baffles everyone who sees it. Nasla is a rock formation over 4,000 years old, split perfectly down the middle. Each half stands 20 feet tall, balanced atop pedestals. Some say it was done by aliens with advanced lasers because there's no way natural phenomena could slice rock this smoothly. Number 20. Elephant Rock. We have discussed some sites in Al-Ula built by various civilizations over a period of thousands of years, and it is truly a captivating place, but let's switch gears to a natural rock formation that's truly a wonder. Jabal al-Fil, which means Elephant Mountain in Arabic, stretches more than 50 meters into the sky and looks like a giant elephant with its trunk touching the ground. But beyond being a geological marvel, Jabal al-Fil has carvings and inscriptions dating back to ancient civilizations, telling the rich history of the region. Watching the sunset with rays coming through the rock's gap, offering a glimpse into the ancient past, sounds like a perfect spot to spend an evening, don't you think? That wraps up our journey through the hot deserts of Arabia and some amazing archaeological discoveries. What are your thoughts on these fascinating finds? Which discovery did you find most interesting? I would love to hear it in the comments. Make sure to like the video, subscribe, and hit the little bell so you get notified when we post new videos just for you. Until next time, goodbye.